Taff here, alongside Victory,
Sup?
and we are the Supreme Deal. Now, this is our second video, and it's another The Truth About.
Because he loves those.
Yeah. So, the gist of this section is to target misconceptions about a character and to give the best interpretation. Here, Victory, or I, will talk about a misconception and explain why it's easily cleared up by people who actually watch the series.
Because, he likes it when people don't watch the series and talk about stuff. That's his favorite thing.
Yep, I love it, but there are only, vaguely things putting characters in certain areas, and hence why you have to tackle misconceptions about them.
Okay, sure, why not? Let's go with that.
At first we did Godspeed, because I felt like he was being overrated a bit.
I feel like he wasn't, but, go ahead. Continue your story.
And today we're discussing downplay instead of someone being overrated.
Oh, like when 17 one-shot at Super Saiyan Blue? Because that's canonical.
And why that's not what happened, it might as well have been. So I'd like to thank you for mentioning that, Victory. Because before we get into Super 17, I want to talk about the whole 17 and Super debacle.
What do you mean?
Well, a lot of people are defending his power boost in there and complaining about objections by saying things like, you can't accept someone being as strong as your precious Goku. Blah.
That's a very specific example there.
Indeed. So I'll start this by saying, first, screw you. And next I'll say that I don't particularly like Super. So, you can call me GT fanboy if you want. And then I'll say, let alone, it's one-dimensional Goku. And so second, I'd say that I've always called BS on the scaling done by Toy because they're really crap at
it. And he loves power scaling. You should see the discussions we get in on about this. It's annoying.
Yeah, so a lot of people defended this by saying things like Freeza did it. So firstly, I'll say that Freeza was BS too, and I didn't give it a pass. And it was dumb, and it will remain dumb.
I don't understand why you're against Freeza. 4 months of non-stop training. Imagine what you could accomplish. They did it for a year. Vegeta and Trunks did it for a year. Look how strong they didn't become.
Indeed. So anyway, the excuse for Freeza is that he was born with this power and he was a prodigy that never trained. So that makes him in his original state relative to a Freeza Saga Super Saiyan.
But on the topic of that training though, I feel like, given a human like me per se, if I were to train for 4 months straight, hear me out on this, that I would achieve a golden-like state, and I could take down any god that I wanted to without even lifting a finger. I believe that much in myself.
I'm certain that may well be the case, Victory.
Thank you.
But now we're going to talk about how Freeza went from a Super Saiyan level to a Super Saiyan Blue level, and we'll compare that to 17, because, 17's a different being from Freeza.
Well, he is a cyborg, not an android.
Oh, yeah, he's an artificial human. And I like to say that people are excusing this by saying that, it makes sense considering Frieza surpassed Goku in 4 months. Well, I'd say the first issue with this is that, as we mentioned, the Frieza thing was BS, but on a more serious note, Frieza is described as a mutant and a prodigy, a natural strength. And so, he has great potential, and that's why he strived. And to compare this, Gohan had great potential since he was a child, and he grew, and Frieza did so to a much greater extent, obviously.
4 months of straight training, man. Imagine what it does. It's like 100 push-ups, 100 squats, a 10-mile run every day. That's what you need.
Indeed, but not the point. So Frieza had insane potential, and now some will cite that Toriyama said that 17 does as well, but I'll mention that it shouldn't be the same. Now, Tori stated that 17 can grow stronger because he's a human-based model of that kind of an artificial human. He's not fully robotic like 16 or 19, and he's not bioorganic like Cell. But, the key word in his ability to grow stronger is human. 17 cannot train his cybernetics.
I would disagree. Cyborg one time reached 110%, but if I were to actually be serious about this, it makes sense. The only way you could properly increase the potential of a cybernetic part would be to upgrade it itself with new mechanical capabilities. Take Genos, for instance. This man never got stronger on his own, but every time he got better at fighting, no matter how much he got cut in actual combat, it was because he had a new cybernetic part created for him and was gifted onto him.
Another decent point. Alright, so I'll say that 17 does not have potential superior Freezas because you still cannot train artificial parts, only human parts, which have far inferior potential. Look at Tien, who trains all the time, but as far as we know, aside from his Shin Kikoho, has yet to surpass a Super Saiyan.
Well, given all the art of Yamcha, stopping Saitama and Tien being stronger than Yamcha, I feel like we should give him some credit.
And so he'll get some. Alright, so anyway, I'd like to just conclude by saying you cannot use Frieza as an excuse for 17 unless you're willing to debate that he can train his artificial parts. So that's not to say 17 can't surpass, say, Super Saiyan God power Goku had in the Battle of Gods arc, because something like that's easy to do with Super.
Like Vegeta, Frieza, Kaba, Vegeta, Hint, Zamasu, Trunks, Appo, Vegama, Jiren. I mean, the list goes on.
Yeah, so that's my opinion on 17. He could end up being blue tier, it can be reconfirmed during the Universal Survival arc, and I'm not going to deny him being that strength. All I'm saying is that it shouldn't automatically get a pass, because I haven't seen any argument that suggests it should.
Alright, you've indulged yourself enough now. Back on point.
You're right, rant time's over. On to Super 17, my favorite Dragon Ball GT design, and my fourth favorite villain in the franchise.
He's lying about the rant time being over, by the way. So what's wrong about Super 17? What's wrong about him?
Well, the first mixed exception people have is that 17 and Hellfire 17 are the same strength as the 17 that we see in the Cell Saga.
Wouldn't Hellfire 17 be the only one who's stronger?
Well, you think so, but in the original Japanese sub, which we will be showcasing on the screen in front of you, when 17 and Hellfire 17 are matching keys so that they can open a portal between Hell and Earth, 17 says this line: "How do you like this power that fills my whole body? The power of hell is being poured into me."
Emo?
A little bit, but it's later stated by Dr. Mew that the power resonated by both number 17s has miraculously attached that world with the next world. So basically he's pointing out that because their powers are in equal proximity, same strength, that they've managed to create such a magnificent portal. So it's basically letting us know that 17's been brought up to par with the Hellfire 17 he and Gero worked hard to create.
Okay.
Alright, so that gets into the next big point about this. So you're probably thinking, what's so great about Hellfire 17 that he could give 17 a massive buff?
Well, he was made in hell, first of all, so Satan has something to do with it.
Well, you could say that, but another reason is that he is a Machine Mutant.
A what?
Alright, well, Machine Mutants are a race of beings that were engineered by the Tux Origin baby, and he programmed Dr. Mew with an algorithm on how to make them. And so these are metal beings with ki, similar to Vegeta from Dragon Ball Super. And so these beings that we're introduced to, almost all the ones we see in the series, other than, I guess you could say, Gil, who is the robot who goes with the Z Fighters, his name is Gero in the dub. But all the machines we see, Lude, the Sigma Force, and most famous of all, Rildo, have Buu Saga levels of power, and I'd argue that most of them are stronger than Majin Buu. It just depends on which version for each. So basically, this is a Machine Mutant that was made by Gero and Dr. Mew after Goku had, kind of ruined all of Mew's plans. So you'd imagine he's putting his best foot forward here. So it makes sense that he could create, something so strong yet again, and all 17 did was get brought up to that same level.
Okay. But what exactly gave 17 that power boost?
Well, I'd wager that, it's just the manner in which they opened hell. The fact that they had to resonate keys just sort of forced him to push out some of that dormant power that they were seeking to do, which, kind of gets into the next few points that we're gonna make. So another note, Hellfire 17 and 17, by extent are far stronger than 17 and the Cell Arc, is that when base GT Vegeta, who much stronger than Majin Buu and other characters in the Buu saga, goes to fight 17, he notes that the two are evenly matched, and he says this exact line: "You're evenly matched against me, you bastard, you powered up beyond belief." So Vegeta is noting that it's massive strength increase. It is important to note that when Vegeta's fighting Hellfire 17, he doesn't know that it's a different person because they're identical. So he's just assuming that 17's gotten this strong. He's flabbergasted. He's mind blown by this level of power he's attained.
Wouldn't you? You were so strong. You worked so hard for their strength. And then this old enemy, who you've easily well surpassed by now, is suddenly on par with you, and you have no idea how he gained this energy with his strength.
Yeah, it is very mind-boggling. So, it really makes sense that they understand what's going on. Or it makes sense that they don't understand, more say. So Vegeta's just trying to grasp that he's reached this level of power. And so next victory, I would like to explain to you, the fact of what Super 17 is supposed to be. Alright, so this next part is again direct line to the episode that we'll be putting up there. Alright, so this is after they built Hellfire 17 and are getting ready to enact their plans for Earth. So Dr. Gero says, "I'm grateful to you, Dr. Mew. This is all thanks to you. If it weren't for your machine mutant theories, I doubt I could have ever completed it. But now, finally, the ultimate artificial human, which I have been dreaming of for many years, will be completed." And then Dr. Mew questions him. He says, "The ultimate artificial human," Dr. Gero then goes on to explain, "Yes, originally number 17 was supposed to have tremendous power, greater than even cells. However," and then he flashes back to, 17 murdering him. And he says, "But I was unable to completely erase his feelings he had from when he was human. He hated me after I rebuilt him. He was an imperfect, unsuccessful creation." And then Dr. Mew goes on to say, "So that's why number 17's dormant power remained idle then." So, from those lines alone, we know that Super 17's power is the result of his systems being perfected and creating something even greater. And that's, not even mentioning the fact that, he's always meant to have power greater than cells. And then he's being even further enhanced by the fact that he's no longer just having systems perfected. He now has machine mutant parts being added to him, which I could only assume would increase, the power he's meant to have even further.
You're just going to go further? You're not going to say anything else about it? You don't believe it's going to go farther than that?
Well, I mean, I assume it went as far as it could, because, Dr. Mew, installed things that Gero didn't even know about. While it's true that Gero was the one who originally made artificial humans that were capable of absorbing energy, like himself in number 19, the absorbing energy parts were not installed by Gero, but actually by Mew.
Huh. More you know.
Yeah, so I mean, it's completely possible that, his strength is, earned because, he had all this different things culminating going into his creation. Alright, so, you can't just say that he jumped to Super Saiyan Blue, 4 tier, for no reason, because merging has always had a large multiplier in Dragon Ball.
Which makes no sense. If you're merging, just your power levels should be combined in that, the end of that.
But, that hasn't always been the case, because we have Piccolo fusing with Nail and Namek. Suddenly they're able to go against second form Freeza, and then you have Piccolo merging with Kami, and he's going from Super Saiyan level, so people say he's even below that, and then he's suddenly able to contend with 17, which is funny considering the video topic. And then you have the Buu saga, where, you have Goten and Trunks becoming Gotenks, who is, dozens of times stronger than Super Saiyan 3 Goku, depending on who you ask. He's at least 8 times stronger in his own Super Saiyan 3 form. I say that's even maybe with downplay.
Okay.
And then there's Vegito. And, you don't even have to get into him to understand that merging did a lot for him. So, when we're looking at, 2 machines...
minus that fight against the Moss.
Unless you read the manga, of course. So, when you consider 2 machine mutants well, one Machine Mutant, but another one amplified by his power. And, they merge. It only makes sense that they would go from base GT Vegeta level to, above Super Saiyan GT Vegeta. And above even Super Saiyan GT Goku, which, gets into what I mentioned earlier about him jumping the Super Saiyan 4 tier. A lot of people say it's unjustified, but, they don't really understand the context of the scenes.
What scenes?
Well, when we first introduced to Super 17, we see him trash Super Saiyan Vegeta, and then later Goku shows up thanks to Piccolo's help, and then he punches 17 across the planet nearly.
Yo, that's pretty good.
Yeah, until he throws another punch expecting the same result, and 17 catches it and lets him know that he's letting him down at this level.
No, he's not. He's just laying him down because he expected him to be so much weaker than he is now.
That's definitely an interpretation to have, considering the next scene involves 17 proceeding to punch Goku around the Atmos and stratospheres before knocking him out of Super Saiyan.
Kid Goku, right?
Oh yes, the Kid Goku retained all his strength from being an adult.
Okay.
And then, Goku gets up because, he does that good old can-do spirit, and then, 17 just does the exact same thing.
So it's basically that one TFS scene where Vegeta kept going forward at Mecha Cooler, no matter how many times he got his ass beat.
Yeah, literally be exactly like that. And so, Goku's been beat out Super Saiyan twice, and he's going, wait, I keep firing Kamehamehas and Ki blasts at him, and it seems he might have actually, started hitting me harder. I wonder what's going on. And he decides, due to 17's commenting that he can see through all Goku's moves, Goku decides to go to a level he doesn't think 17 can predict, and he jumps to Super Saiyan 4.
Okay, makes sense.
And so at that point, he begins, again, firing Ki blasts at him in rapid succession, and then that's when he notices that he thinks 17 might be absorbing his energy, but he thinks he should test it.
Why? Why would you test something like that?
So he decides to fire his 10 times Kamehameha at 17.
Why would you do something? Why?
And then, he absorbs that, and then that's how 17 becomes Super Saiyan 4 tier.
Alright. So first of all, we should talk about this. This is a very big discussion we should have about this. Why would you fire a very strong attack when you believe this man is absorbing your energy? Why wouldn't you just fire a weak attack, see if he absorbs and be like, oh, I probably shouldn't use this anymore?
Well, actually, Goku has his own rationale for this. He says that the reason he fired the 10 times Kamehameha is because it's his greatest technique that he has. And so he's thinking, if this technique has no effect, then he's really in trouble.
But if he absorbs the ki, you know why you're in trouble? Because you decided to use a ki-based attack against him that was extremely powerful and would amp his strength greatly. Your rationale is called stupidity.
Well, no one ever said that Goku was a genius. Other than when it comes to fight.
But if he was a genius to fighting, wouldn't he know this?
Well, he did want to test his limits because it's possible, 17 could have had a capacity. I mean, sure, he's been absorbing power from a Super Saiyan, but Super Saiyan 4 is many times stronger than that. So it could have been that his intention was maybe that an attack so powerful could overload 17. And that's even a reasonable assumption to make because when Mew sees this, he's not certain that 17 can handle that much energy.
Alright. I guess that makes it a little bit more logical.
And then it does end up being that he can't handle that energy, and so Goku ends up having to fight an enemy on par with himself. And then that's how he ends up being Super Saiyan 4 level. So you can't just say, oh, two Cell Saga 17s added together somehow comes up with a Super Saiyan 4 level enemy. Well, that's not what happens. What happens is that two base Saiyan levels of GT fused together. And we know fusion can make you much stronger, hundreds of times, sometimes when you look at people like Gotenks and Vegeta. But here it only makes him a little over 50 times since he becomes stronger than Super Saiyan Goku and Vegeta. And then only through absorbing energy of a Super Saiyan 4 does he reach Super Saiyan 4 levels of power.
Alright.
And so, that's really all there is to Super 17. Super 17 has several unique abilities, such as the ability to absorb energy, even if enemies much stronger than him. And then he inherited an ability from the original 17, which is being an infinite energy model.
Wouldn't that basically mean he's God essentially with all that energy?
Yes, yes. By infinite energy, they really mean infinite stamina, as 17 can fight no matter what level the enemy's at. He can continue to fight them without getting tired. Of course, if they're stronger than him, his inability to get tired will really only help if he can wear them down, which sometimes wouldn't be the case. And then he has other, incredible abilities, such as his ability to sense where Goku has moved by feeling the air, a sort of hypersensitivity when Goku uses his instantaneous movement or instant transmission technique.
But that defeats the purpose of instant transmission. Instant transmission means that there's basically no time allotted for anybody to sense anything, because by the time he's left the place that he's currently at, he's already in the new place, preventing you from feeling it unless you felt him enter that new place the exact instant that he entered it. In which case, it'd just be a giant paradox, essentially.
Well, we can talk about the validity of instant movements later. But, moving on, I think, destructive capacity-wise, I'd say the lowest he could reasonably put Super 17 at would be a multi-galaxy level, or the ability to destroy multiple galaxies. You could argue range, but that's not really what we're going for here, because, all anyone cares about in Dragon Ball really is destructive capacity. So, at the end of the day, Super 17 is a pretty formidable foe, with the ability to absorb energy, seemingly without end. I mean, Dr. Mew did worry that he couldn't handle the energy from Super Saiyan 4 for Goku, especially not a 10 times Kamehameha, but he did. So that shows he has incredible reserves. And then there's the fact that he could fight at that level without getting tired due to the infinite energy model he inherited from 17. And then he has, heightened senses, so it would be hard to get away from him. Even if you want to say you can't sense ki, you can sense where you are. So that's, pretty good. But, all that said, we should talk about the fact that this monster of an enemy was defeated.
One punch!
Ah, yes, the Ryuken, or Dragon Fist, a very formidable technique that Goku managed to use to defeat 17.
It's essentially just, a one-punch attack.
And, the way he defeated him actually brings up a very interesting character point of Super 17. Now, a lot of people say Super 17 arc is bad because, it's super brief and it doesn't really accomplish much, but I think it has an interesting character dynamic when you look at it from 17's perspective.
How so?
Well, if you listen to Toriyama's notes and believe that they're canon in GT, and I don't see a reason why they wouldn't be, 17 has literally just been chilling being a park ranger for the past 20 or so years it is in Dragon Ball GT. And he's had a family. It's probably enough time for some of them to grow up since it's been 20 years. And he's just chilling, he's relaxing, then all of a sudden his mind is being manipulated by a copy of himself telling him to do the bidding of Dr. Gero, a person who he killed himself for trying to take away his free will.
Can we backtrack a little bit? So, you went over the fact that this man has been alive for 20 years living with his family. Imagine how awkward that is at family reunions when everybody else is aged by 20 years and this man comes out looking the exact same as he did 20 years ago.
Oh, you gotta thank Gero for something. He managed to keep them looking young.
True. But back on point, with him being, manipulated by Dr. Gero, or at least Hellfighter 17.
Oh yeah, see, the entire time he's fighting Control, and the first time you see him fight Control was when he attacks Android 18. Or, more accurately, Cyborg 18. Or, if you want to get really accurate and go by the Japanese dub, you'd say Artificial Human number 18. And he attacks her and Krillin. He kills Krillin, which I think is a good sign to illustrate how much control Hellfire 17 has over him. Because he stops and listens to Krillin when Krillin tells him how much he hated Gero and the fact that he killed him himself.
I guess.
And then he attacks 18. Well, actually, rather, 18 attacks him for killing her husband. The fourth time he died, so she's understandably upset about it.
But if this is the fourth time, you think she'd be along the lines of, well, we got Dragon Balls.
Well, I mean, it's only the second time for her.
True.
So she attacks 17, and of course, he just literally walks it off, and then one-shots her, and we're led to believe that she's dead, and Marin is an orphan now.
Rip.
But later 18 shows up to help Goku fight Super 17, so it's discovered that she survived, and she thinks that 17 was afraid of the bomb inside her exploding, because 17 wasn't there when the bombs were moved, so he wouldn't know it was gone. But Goku insinuates, and it's kind of implied more that she survived because 17 didn't want to kill his sister. And so you get this feeling that 17's fighting against Hellfighter 17 the entire time. And that he's even fighting against him, well, from inside of Super 17.
That'd be extremely difficult and would speak volumes of his willpower.
Well, yeah, 17 has always been a very straightforward go-getter. He fought against Gero the first time, and he fought against him here. And so, Super 17 installed an intentional weakness, I think, is what you can gather from watching the series. Because toward the end, during the fight with Goku, when he's absorbing energy, he takes a particular stance. And it's noted by Goku toward the end that the stance that he's taken leaves him wide open for attack. So while 18 is bombarding with energy, he's open to the Dragon Fist, which is a piercing attack. It's powered by Goku's ki, but it's not an actual ki blast, so 17 can't absorb.
Seems like a cop-out.
A little bit. I will admit that this is the kind of flat ending for such an awesome, unique, and sort of powerful villain. But it does offer an interesting point that Goku says that he likes to think that this is their victories due to 17. And so you could look at it as like the only real reason this monster was defeated is because 17 had the willpower to make him vulnerable.
I guess, which would be a great character. Well, would make 17's character a lot better if this is true.
And so, looking at it from that angle, we're able to see that Super 17 and 17 as a result are a rather interesting, complex character. One with immense abilities, but one who's also sort of, in a way, tormented by his morality. Someone who had his free will stripped from him, his identity, and then he managed to find a new one, only to find himself being dragged back in.
Edgy?
A little bit. People always like to say it's edgy. I believe that's probably more because of the dub's fault. They added that horrendous track. Thankfully, a lot of these screenshots are coming from, the official subs, because I recently picked up the remastered version, and luck they were gracious enough to add the Japanese music, which completely changes the tone, in my opinion.
Okay.
Not to mention the improved voice acting.
What do you mean? Don't you like adult Pan voice for 10-year-old Pan?
Oh, don't even get me started on that. In fact, how somehow our voice actress only has the one line, Grandpa. But, that aside, I hope you've learned a little something about Super 17 and Hellfighter 17 and even normal 17. And discovered that his strength is completely I feel justifiable. A lot of statements and feats and actions, and it's very consistent across the board. The only inconsistency I would say is 17's defeat. But I think if you look at it from the character perspective of 17 desperately trying to regain his free will, and then realizing the best thing he can do for his sister and for the Earth is to allow himself to be defeated, it's kind of inspiring in that sense.
Also a little heartwarming that he would give up his life for people that he doesn't really know and for just his sister.
And, maybe for Marin too, because there were some notes of terror on it said he didn't meet them once. So, it was a very, I feel touching, even if it's a short period arc, because this is the last arc in the Dragon Ball series where 17, 18 play significant roles. And you can see it's kind of more of a heartwarming kind of thing instead of, like the usual punch out that Dragon Ball is. And I suppose technically it isn't the last major arc since now they're playing a role in the Universal Survival arc. That's something else entirely.
Something really, really dumb, but, moving on.
Well, dumb in certain aspects, but not so many others. I mean, I guess if you buy, there only being 28 planets with life, naturally the Earth would have the strongest people on it.
Yeah.
But, we're talking about GT here, so, Super 17, the artificial human Machine Mutant hybrid with incredible abilities thanks to his two creators, who he killed, by the way. Again, another sign of 17's free will. One with incredible power, but a tortured past and a tortured mind.
And you say that wasn't edgy.
When it's well written, it's not.
No. No. That's not how that works. No.
No, I say it is.
No. No.
Well, we're not getting derailed by this, argument, Victory.
This isn't an argument. This is the fact that I am willing to discuss this with you because I am right.
Well, we will discuss it off air then, because we said all there is to say about Super 17, and we said all there is to say about what he's done and what he did for his sister, what he's done for his family, what he's well.
I think you forgot about normal 17.
That's right, because really, that's who this is. This is a character who's literally at odds with himself. So, Hellfire 17, they make up Super 17. And, it is confirmed that they're different people. As we're shown in the GT profiles, it states how he was made and how his overwhelming power, and how it's, really just continuously hammers it in about how they're two separate beings who come together to form a being with devastating power.
Honestly, if you were there for the translations, the rough translations, it was really annoying. Just typing it all in and then finding out that it's basically saying, yeah, so this is his abilities that we told you 3 times already. This is how they are, as we told you 3 times already. Here are the 2 different 17s, as we told you many, many times.
But, I feel like there was one relevant translation which mentioned the fact that, during the Shadow Dragon saga, 17 was brought back to life, along with Crone, after they managed to defeat the Shadow Dragons. So, it's nice to know he got to go back and, range the crap out of that park.
That park is safer. We don't need, we don't need Smokey when we got 17.
And that's the truth, straight up. And, it's also another sign that, the merger between the two 17s wasn't permanent, so at least there's that.
Well, we're getting pretty off topic right now. We should probably end this.
Yep, that's the conclusion. So there you go, the truth about Super 17 from the Supreme Duo.
If you actually stuck around for all of this, thank you. If you didn't, well, die.
Well, you're going to eventually. That's a bit morbid, but, more to the point, we're really glad to have you, like, comment, subscribe, all that crap, and,
Don't forget the favorite.
And, if anyone ever wants to tell you that Super 17 makes no sense and it's unjustified strength, just point them this way. We provided all the evidence on the screen, and we're going to link, all the points we mentioned in the description box below. That kind of thing, because, an argument without evidence isn't an argument.
It is just a wrong opinion.
And ain't that the truth? Alright. Catch you later.
Bye.